Looks like we're joined by our first guest, Coach Rob Harley, linebackers coach, recruiting coordinator, in his sixth year at Pitt. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good to be on with you guys.
Do we have any questions for Coach Harley?
Rob, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Jerry?
Okay. Hey, listen, I was wondering, how did you guys grade out? From the three starters to everybody else in Saturday's game.
I thought they played well. Obviously, it's our first chance to really go in live action together with a kind of a fresh group of three. But we ended up playing a bunch of guys, which is great experience for those guys. But I thought they played hard. Thought they did what we asked them to do. A good first step.
Rob, we heard from Pat, what Wendell did during training camp to really get that starting job. What, from your perspective, did he do to really stand out and earn that first team slot?
I think it's really consistency, and that's really at all positions, but especially, him personally, just the consistent effort, number one, the consistent leadership, the consistent, guidance that he provides for the defense, because that's really that Mike spot. The leadership, the quarterback role to get everybody lined up. And he was consistent every day, never wavered. And again, it was a great competition. It still remains a competition because, again, those Mike spots, every week, game plan tweaked a little bit, changed a little bit, and who's going to get it down the best and be able to take us through it. So he's done a really nice job, and Chase Pine has done a really nice job as well.
Was Wendell consistent on Saturday against Austin Peay in the opener?
Yeah, I thought so. I thought he did a great job. I thought, really, like I said, those top six guys, I thought they did a heck of a job and a good first step.
Rob, with this offseason being the way it was, how important do you think that the entire defensive staff is back, and how does that help you guys, moving forward this season?
I think continuity, obviously, in any business is awesome, especially ours, because you've got, so much time wrapped up into this thing, and now you're able to kind of speak without speaking to each other. And it's a nod here, it's a nod there. The kids understand what everybody is looking for. It's not some new random coach. Hey, this is what I expect. The expectations are set. Like the Steelers say, the standard is the standard. So it's the standard's set by every coach. They know what to expect. We know what to expect. I know Coach Narduzzi knows what to expect. And I think there's something very comforting about that for us as a staff and our players.
Rob, obviously Phil and Cam are establishing their positions, but are Cervasia and Patrician, are they pushing those two as well?
Yeah, I think we've got a nice battle. Obviously Johnny Patrician is new to the room and continues to learn, but he continues, like I told him, we're not going to treat him like a new guy at this point. It's season time, and he's been with us and he's been around this defense. He's a veteran in the college football, and so he continues to get better. Voss continues to get better. And again, Voss is on our third down unit. So he's really stepped up, and I've been really impressed with his growth from year one to year two. So I think we got a heck of a room that just continues to get better and push each other, which is awesome.
From a creating havoc standpoint, you're getting after the quarterback with your guys. I know Kylan did a lot for you in terms of getting, logging sacks and everything last year. How do you think that, obviously Cam and Phil, they did a good job with it last year too. How do you think those guys will kind of fill that void, if you will, and kind of getting after the quarterback?
Yeah, well, I think partly is, our structure and what we do and how hard we work to scheme up people. And I think it's partly our scheme. And then I think those guys and what we've got in our room, the speed and the quickness and just who they are is really going to lend itself to trying to get that done. Now, again, we played one game. So who we are, I don't know if we know yet. Obviously, we've seen these guys at practice. We know what their potential and what they're capable of. But again, this week, Syracuse week 2 is going to be another opportunity for these guys to really show what they can do. Because week 1 was week 1, and I know Cam got one in that first game, and now it's on the other guys to show what they've got. So I think their talent level and their attributes lend itself to getting after it and getting after the quarterback. But again, consistency in the execution is going to be what it's about.
Syracuse.
Go ahead, Jim.
Yeah, Syracuse, they allowed 7 sacks in week 1. As a defense overall, you guys kind of perk up when you kind of hear, they have trouble protecting the quarterback.
I don't know if we look we obviously understand what their stats were and what happened in the last game. Obviously, you want to know where they're coming from. But I think we don't preach it, whether our guys look at it or not. I know my guys aren't talking about it. I think that our goal is to get after the quarterback, whether we're playing the Dallas Cowboys, the LA Rams, or the Syracuse Orangemen. It doesn't matter to us. Our goal is to scheme them up and get back there, and for us to have the most sacks possible we can have in whatever game we're playing. And this week it's Syracuse, and that's the name of the game when we're trying to get after them, stop the run, and sack the quarterback. So I don't know. We don't talk about it much, Jim, but I don't know. Our guys aren't talking about it. I think we just are focused on doing our job in this week too.
Rob, what did Cervasia do in training camp in the last few weeks to launch himself into that good position at third down and back up at the money?
Yeah, I just think he's a really intelligent player. He is a post grad, so he's a little year older than most of our true freshmen last year. So he's just has a little bit older mind. He's intelligent. He can understand those things when we're trying to scheme up some people, and that really lends itself. And he's a heck of an athlete. A great speed, a great change of direction, which is what you need, obviously, in running blitz pass and those types of things. So he lends himself to that package, to some of the skill set that he has. And he's worked hard, and he's worked really hard at it.
Coach, you get hall pass for everybody this year. And I know you can't talk about specific recruiting, but overall, how does that change the mindset as a coach where you can utilize so many more of your athletes?
Yeah, you're talking about just the third down package.
No, and in any package, the fact that you can utilize so many more bodies now and get looks at guys where in a typical season you wouldn't be able to do that. You basically have access unlimited to your entire roster.
Yeah, I think it does help you. I think, again, it's going to be what can guys handle. But I think, Larry, you're right. It is a unique year. It's amazing for this not to count or whatever you'd call it. But it is. You're able to take a longer look at guys you normally wouldn't. Maybe you'd be kind of saying, okay, how do we get 4 games out of this guy? But I think that naturally happens, to be honest with you. I think maybe you press it a little bit more this year because you can. But a lot of those things are done through execution and the players trusting each other. But it is unique, and it is kind of fun to be able to kind of say, hey, listen, we're going to have this guy the whole season.
Rob, you have Brandon George playing all 3 phases the other day. What do you look for to see a guy that you think may be able to handle that? And how do you think he did kind of doing all that in one game?
Well, I think, talking to those guys on offense, they thought he did a good job for being a newbie over there. But, he's a guy, and that's kind of just going back to Larry's comment, and just in terms of playing a bunch of guys, and not that he's, he already redshirted and those things, but you only have enough space to play 11 guys, right, on each play. So we obviously have a lot of guys we'd love to play more, and you're trying to find roles for those guys. And Brandon's a guy who's going to be a heck of a linebacker for us. But right now, right, he found himself in a 3-way battle, but he's still a heck of a football player overall. So for us, on offense, defense, special teams, it's all about finding the best 11 for certain plays or certain blitzes or certain schemes that you're running on special teams. And he fits that mold. He's a hard-nosed, tough football player that's willing to do anything. And I think that's really what you're looking for, is for a guy who's willing to literally do anything to get on the field. Those are the guys that you can find a spot for, and he's one of those guys.
Rob, Pat Bostic was saying during the broadcast last Saturday about the depth of the freshman class. As recruiting coordinator, how do you feel about this first-year group? And also, do you feel like you're bringing in a higher level of athlete or a better level of athlete over the last couple of years?
Yeah, I think, it's the state of a different guy. 5 years ago, it's a different guy. And I think football's changed a lot, and you're looking for some different skill sets at certain positions. And I think, when you have solid years and you play really well, that's going to help you. I mean, there's no secret. When you win games and you play really good defense, in our case, you're going to have access to different type of dudes. And I think those guys have their attention has been caught by some of what we do in the blitz game, and obviously what we did last year. Obviously the throwing game on offense, that piques some wide receivers and some skill guys So, and quarterbacks. And I just think, it's your production that's going to determine those things. And, we were lucky enough to have a good amount of production last year. But again, you're only as good as your last game. So every week we're trying to prove who we are and show that we're trying to take the next step.
Do we have any final questions before we get to our player representatives?
Yeah, I have.
Rob, you've been on the team for this is your 6th season, I believe. Coaching. You're seeing Phil and Wendell and these guys. And where do you see them as a communication standpoint, as far as like the chemistry you're seeing, the flow of just, hey, we got to switch this, and the challenges that you're able to throw at them as guys that you've seen compared to the rest of the time that you've been at the linebacker coach?
Yeah, it's been, this is a whole different group. When you first get to anywhere, we had guys that were dealing with 3 different systems, 2 before us and our system, and they did a great job. I mean, heck, we've had some good defenses here, and they did a great job. But this is a group that knows nothing but our system. And when you have that, it's a little bit apples and oranges, but to compare it to the old guys. But they only know our system. So it's fast checks. So, you'd hope it'd be fast checks, but all of our base stuff, those guys, they're right together. They're mind melting in a lot of these things. And it's what you want. And it's what we do as coaches. I mean, that's how you scheme it up. That's how you put a scheme together to make sure that these guys can continue with that. And you don't have any hiccups because you made it too hard for them. Jim, you've got one?
Thank you for your time.
Just kind of a recruiting question a little bit.
Go ahead, last one.
Okay. So, I mean, you didn't have camps. You didn't have official visits in June. Some guys aren't having season. How has the dynamic of recruiting changed in this 2020 climate?
Well, it's changed for everybody. I mean, some people aren't playing games right now. We're playing games, and it's I think the evaluation piece has changed, right? The good news is high schools are playing football, so we're going to get a chance to see that film. But it changed for all of us in the college football landscape that we weren't able to go out and see these guys on the hoof, right? You couldn't see them. You couldn't lay your eyes on them and who they are. Are they really 6'2"? Are they really 6'1"? So I think from an evaluation standpoint, an in-person evaluation, it changes those things. But the good news is everybody's on a level playing field. And so that's where it changes. Other than that, right, which is a big deal. But other than that, the good news is we're going to get to see these guys and how they've grown from junior to senior year.
Coach, really appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
All right, RJ.
Your day.
Thanks, guys. Hail to Pitt.
Coach.
Yeah, thank you.
I believe Devin Danielson. There he is. Thomas Jefferson product, defensive tackle, number 95. Devin, thanks for taking a couple minutes with us today.
You're welcome.
Questions for Devin?
Devin, you're in there for a pretty good player, obviously, but you moved into that position in early August, and now it's mid-September. Do you feel like you've laid claim to that position? You're more than just a fill-in?
No, it's still open. It's a fight between all the D tackles, every practice. We're always competing to get better.
How would you grade yourself out in week 1?
I did well. There were definitely some things I could improve on.
Devin, what do you remember about the pass rush last year at Syracuse? You guys, as a team, really got after it. I think it was like 9 sacks or something. Do you remember kind of anything specific about that game, about that pass rush?
We were just really locked in the entire game to all our keys and our get-off keys especially. We just got after them.
Devin, how do you get back to that place where you're locked in? What's the key to getting into that position?
Just a lot of film studying what they do and seeing where we can get chances to get some sacks.
Evan, when you see a mobile quarterback like DeVito, how cognizant do you have to be of not getting too far upfield and giving him cracks, to escape from? And how does that affect the pass rush from you guys on the inside?
It just means you have to think a little bit more about what moves you take. You might not want to take some more risky moves, and you might want to play it safe sometimes.
Devin, what was Sunday morning like when you guys, when you especially went over the video of how you played on Saturday with the coaches?
It's always good. You learn from film, win or lose, and I was just happy to get in there and see what I can learn from the film.
What do you think you learned from the film? How do you think you played, and what are some of the best things you did on Saturday?
Um, I used my hands really well on Saturday, and I came off the ball. I just need to work on some footwork things.
Devin, we saw a couple of tweets from Rashad. Can you give us an idea of being around him, how antsy he is, and what it's going to be like when he gets back on that field finally?
He's super excited. I can't wait to see him out there.
You guys obviously, have been understanding that you weren't going to have Jalen this season for a while now. Then you find out, I don't know when exactly you found out, but before the opener that Keyshawn wasn't going to be able to go. How do you feel like you and Tyler and David and Kalijah kind of mixed together and just filled in on Saturday?
Well, we were just all ready to step up. Everyone in our room is ready to step up when their time is called.
Do you feel like you're comfortable playing beside any of those guys? It doesn't really matter.
Yes, I'm completely with everyone in the room.
We talked to some of the other guys, just the sense of getting out there on that first game and the oddity of not having any fans in the stands. Did you even notice while you were in the midst of playing, or how did that affect you in any way?
I didn't notice while we were playing, but when you come to the sidelines, you can't help but see empty stands. But it didn't bother me.
I was the only human being in the seats, and I was the lone guy singing Sweet Caroline, just for your own information.
They were checking his ticket. Devin, what's depth? How big of an advantage is depth along the defensive line, especially with as deep as you guys are?
Oh, it's an amazing advantage to have. It just allows us to rotate. No one's ever tired on the D line. There's always someone fresh in there.
Evan, what'd you see from Deon Hayes, true freshman, Pittsburgh kid, came in with 2 sacks in his first game? What'd you kind of see from him?
He went out there. He got an opportunity to get out on the field, and he made the most of it. He really did well on Saturday.
Any final questions?
Devin, when it came to the pass rush that you guys had against Austin P, they were using a lot of quick passes to get the ball off and try to neutralize it. How have you guys talked about how you face there and how that's going to differentiate from the offenses that you're about to face as you get ready for the ACC?
Can you repeat the question again? I'm sorry, I sort of got lost in it.
You're fine, man. Okay, so basically, there were a lot of quick passes from Austin P to try to neutralize you guys as a pass rush. Guys still got home a little bit, but have you guys talked about what it's going to be like differently as you face more, different looks of offenses when you get ready to face the ACC teams like Syracuse?
Yes, we talked about different moves, getting to like more involved moves, like with deeper setting quarterbacks, and like our caps change.
All right, Devin, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
And our final guest will be linebacker number 32, Cervasia Dennis, momentarily here. Thank you all for joining us today. And our final guest is joining us here. Linebacker number 32, Cervasia Dennis. Cervasia, thank you for joining us.
No problem. Thank you.
Cervasia, how excited are you to go against your hometown team?
Oh, I'm very excited, but not just because it's Syracuse, but just because it's the next game. That's how I approach every game. So that's how I plan to approach this one as well.
So, Roche, going back to the recruiting process, things kind of happen quickly with Pitt. It's just like they offer, you committed real quick. Can you kind of talk about how that all kind of came into being?
Yes. So first, I was committed to the United States Air Force Academy, and then Coach Dewes came into my high school, seen my film, seen me, talked to me. Things all happened fast, and then after they offered me a couple schools offered me as well under the table, behind closed doors, and I was like, Pitt was the first one, so I'm just gonna go with them.
Cervasia, what's Pat Narduzzi like as a recruiter? What's it like to get calls or have him want you to come play for him?
He's a great recruiter at that, but he has some other great coaches that also are great recruiters, like Coach Salem. Turbo is a great guy and a great coach, but the recruiting level, he's awesome.
Bossy, from overcoming injuries to where you are now, can you believe that from that senior year at CBA to being able to face Syracuse on Saturday, what that moment's going to be like?
Definitely. It's going to be surreal. My senior year, I didn't think I would be playing at this level. I didn't even think I would be playing football again for real. But, just to be here, I'm very excited. And to be playing, the hometown team, I'm even more elated. So
Good luck on Saturday, Bossy. Thanks, man.
thank you. Appreciate it.
You played some
Syracuse
quarterback.
fan growing up, Cervasia?
Say that again?
Were you a Syracuse fan growing up?
Definitely. My mom, she engraved it in me. She's a very big Syracuse fan, so that passed down to me as well.
Did they offer you?
No, they did not.
Does that put a little chip on your shoulder this Saturday?
Not really. I play every game the same, no matter who I go against.
So what do you see from the Syracuse offense on film that you guys will be having to key on?
It's actually, they play fast. They have a very big tempo team. It's just, reading keys. If I read my keys and do everything I'm supposed to do, as my coaches tell me, things like that, I should be good. Everybody, all the linebackers, everybody will be good. Good to go.
You played some quarterback in high school. What kind of quarterback were you?
I was more of a scramble quarterback. I like to run around, do things, and just they call me Houdini, as a matter of fact, because I made some crazy plays at quarterback. But it was just I was an athlete at quarterback.
So Syracuse got a pretty mobile quarterback there in DeVito. Do you feel like having been that, when you're trying to see a quarterback who's trying to escape or under some duress, you can kind of get into his head a little bit and understand what he's thinking and where he might be going?
Definitely. Those type of quarterbacks, always try to make a play, always see downfield, but it is a little edge to them that, you could get under their skin, because if the line isn't blocking too good, or if they have to escape probably every 3 times the drive, they get tired of it. So I know how to get under their skin a little bit.
Watch him as a quarterback in high school. He was really good. So was his tailback, who now plays at Indiana. But Bossy, do you keep contact with Coach Brown and what those conversations are like?
Oh, definitely. Coach Brown actually called me yesterday. He was just asking me how I'm doing, how my body is, and things like that. Because, when I played quarterback, I was much lighter, probably 190. I'm 230 now. But, yeah, we have a great relationship, try to contact him every chance I get. But he's a great guy.
Cervasia, you said you weren't sure if you could play at this level or you could get to play. What is it that you've evolved, or what have you improved in to allow you to play at this level?
Like I said, definitely my body. Like Mario said, I went through a series of injuries my senior year. And even last year, that was probably the reason I didn't play against Syracuse last year. But that's the only thing. It was just a series of injuries, and I just think coming to college, they helped me be nutritious for one, and two, like just get my body ready for the physicality of this game.
Did you travel?
Did you get hurt playing quarterback in high school in your senior year or your prep year?
My senior year, tore my Achilles my senior year of high school.
How long were you laid up?
3 to 4 months, and I rushed it back. I even played basketball my senior year, so I wasn't supposed to.
So you got hurt in mid-season in your senior year then?
My fourth game, yep.
Cervasia, did you travel with the team to the Syracuse game last year, or did you sit back?
Like I said, last year I went through a series of injuries as well, but it did hurt me not being able to go to the dome, being home, just seeing the scenery and things like that. But it's okay.
What was it like watching the game? I guess I'm assuming you just watched it on TV. What was it like watching kind of the pass rush really get after it? That game, I think you guys had it was 9 sacks or something.
I was excited, because those are my teammates, those are my guys. But just to see my team beat up on the whole town team, it was very exciting.
So I say,
Go ahead, Jim.
Well, thank you.
What was the experience?
Go ahead, Larry. Sorry.
Sorry. What was the experience like to get out on the field and play some football last Saturday?
It was like being in my comfort zone again. This game of football is something I very much appreciate, and being on that field is something I never want to take for granted ever. So just being out there is a safe haven, really.
So, Rossi, in the linebacker room, can you tell us just just what that's like? Who you're looking up to in the room, who you're talking to the most, and who you might feel like side by side with the most in practice going week to week.
I talk with all the linebackers, to be honest. I try to gain knowledge. Being a sophomore, and I have a lot of older guys in the room. But Phil Campbell, he's a great. He teaches me a lot. Cam Bright, he teaches me a lot as well. And then I just try to pick Wendell's brain because he's the mic, and he knows basically the whole defense. So I try to get on that level. So I just pick his head every day, see where we are, these checks, those checks. I just try to just be a student of the game when I'm in the room.
Bossy, everyone talks about the mental aspect of this game and how hard it's been these last 6 months. How have you been able to compartmentalize everything? And as a guy like maybe Stevie Scott, a fellow teammate of yours, helped you at Indiana, do you guys kind of bounce stuff back with one another?
I haven't really talked to Stevie in the past couple of months, but no, I just been trying to focus on the game, focus on my knowledge, getting to know the defense, getting to know my guys that I play with, and just getting to know the scheme we have.
So, Rossi, I see by RJ's outstanding media guide here, you were all Central New York and all Class AA in high school. Was that your senior year or your junior year?
That was sophomore, junior, and senior year.
So you got those honors senior year after only playing in 4 games?
Say that again?
You got those honors as a senior only playing in 4 games?
Yes.
You must
New York, they only play 7 regular season games up here.
Oh, okay. All right. So you played most of the season then?
No, those 4 that year I think we played 10 games, including the playoffs. But yeah, 4 games, and yeah, I still made those honors. So very grateful for that.
Do you think if you hadn't been injured, you might have gone to college right after instead of going to prep school?
If the college recruitment was better, sure. But I think prep was a good route for me. Prep helped me a lot, developing my body, developing my mind, and just knowing the game of football more. So I appreciate my time at prep and my coaches at prep as well.
So, Rossi, I love your first name. Can you tell me the origin of it, where your mother came up with it?
Definitely. I get this question a lot. So my father's name is Cervantes. And one day my dad and my grandfather was at a nice restaurant at dinner, and the waitress asked them if they wanted to try their signature drink that night, which had Cervasia in it. And my dad kind of liked the name. It's like, ooh, I like that. I'm probably gonna name my son Cervasia.
Great story. Thank you.
No problem.
Any final questions before we wrap up this great conversation with Cervasia?
Thanks, guys. Good luck on Saturday.
All good. Thank you. Thank you, boss. Really appreciate your time. Great job, man.
Good luck. All right, man.
Have a nice day, everybody.
Take care.
Take care. Wish I was seeing you guys on Saturday. Instead, I might be stuck up here in queues.
Thanks for joining us, Mario. Thank you all for being here. Like always, we'll send out the link to download this, and all videos, all the interviews will be posted to YouTube on Pitt Livewire and our website as well. So thank you all, and I'm sure we'll be in touch.
Sorry I stepped on you, Larry.
No, Jerry, I'm sorry. I've actually flogged myself I didn't mean to step on you. That's a great question about his name, too. That was cool.